Hey, what's going on, No Nation? This is Kelvin Hunt here with Built for Playmakers YouTube channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you count down to the big game Saturday night, just like I am. Man, I wish we could play this joint today. But yeah, big week, and looking forward to Seminoles take care of business. In this particular video, we're going to get into the status of Riley Leonard, which is the Duke starting quarterback who suffered high ankle sprain against Notre Dame a couple weeks ago. So we're going to talk about the possibility of him playing or not, how that could impact the game, talk about some trends with FSU, and then ultimately going to give a prediction on the Duke game for Saturday night. So this is my third video of this week. Man, putting in work, baby, putting in work. Appreciate all the love and support. It's been a big week for the channel. And so if you could, make sure you like the video here and send this to some more FSU fans, man. Trying to expand the channel, reach more people. Recently went over the 1,800 subscriber mark. So shout out to all you guys. Make sure you turn your notifications on so that whenever I do release a video, you'll have that notification, and so you can check it then if you're able to, or you can watch it later whenever you have some free time. But again, I appreciate all the support, and definitely looking forward to doing more things here on the channel. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it, man. It's talking about Riley Leonard, and so Riley Leonard, if you didn't know, is a dual threat quarterback for Duke, who is in my preseason prediction, my preseason win shares, I pretty much called him a Jordan Travis light. And so dual threat guy, I don't think he's the passer that Jordan is, but he's an athletic guy that can definitely impact the game, similar to some mobile quarterbacks that FSU's played throughout the year. But he got hurt at the end of the Notre Dame game, a high ankle sprain, looked really bad. He left the field on crutches, and luckily for Duke, they had a bye week after that game, and then they had a game against NC State the week after that, which was this past week. And he sat out that game. NC State's not a good team, and so they were able to play a backup quarterback, and they ran 2 offensive plays in that game. 30 rushes, 12 passes. I think the young man completed 4 of the 12 passes for like 107 yards. Did throw 2 touchdowns. But it was like a bad weather game. It was rainy and stuff like that. So that kind of impacted it a little bit. But 42 offensive plays, and they put up 24 points against NC State. Now, I know a lot of people thinking, oh, NC State's defense is, NC State, but it's not the NC State defense of the past couple of years. They're good, but they're not quite as good as they have been in the past. So he's had 2 weeks to set out, to get treatment and all that good stuff. There is footage. I posted it on Chop on Thursday morning. The video is from Saturday in the pregame against NC State, and Leonard is visibly limping. He's trying to hide it, but you can, if you watch him, he's not walking with the usual gait and stride that you would expect. I'm sure the ankle has gotten better since Saturday, but I would find it hard pressed to believe that he would be in a condition to go out against a team like Florida State's defense and play it. Let's say he's 75 or 80%. It's hard to believe that at 80% he could go out there and be effective against an FSU defense that's playing really great right now, and they're really great against the run. And the reason why I don't think he's going to play, I think Mike Elko said that he has a good chance of playing against FSU. That came out on Wednesday, but I really think that's Mike Elko just playing, doing the coach speak thing and forcing FSU to prepare for 2 quarterbacks. That takes anytime he can get them to take away from preparation on one particular guy. I guess he would consider that a win. But at the same time, I said it in a previous video I did early this week. I've had high ankle sprains before. I had a bad one in college, and I mean, my ankle rolled, I mean, completely over playing baseball. And I mean, my ankle literally was black and blue and purple and green and whatever other color you want to put in there. And I set out for about 3 weeks and had an opportunity to play. Had some guys coming to watch me play, and and I was probably about 70, 80%. And whenever you're in college, man, you don't have many opportunities where you may have some scouts come to watch you play. And so I took a gamble, and I took like 2 or 3 a leave before a doubleheader. Went out there and played, and felt okay. Didn't have the best game, but I was out there. And about midway through that second game, those leaves started wearing off, and man, I could barely walk. I could barely walk with about 2 or 3 innings left to go in that doubleheader, and wound up missing another probably 3 weeks or so before I could even get close to playing again. So I say that to say this about Leonard. So this is what Duke lost against Notre Dame. That loss does not count against their ACC record because Notre Dame does not, compete in the ACC football wise. So they're still technically, undefeated in the ACC along with FSU. And so this is what Mike Elko has to consider. They're already, sizable underdogs on the road, and Duke has only played one true road game this season, and I think that was against UConn. So does that even really count? It's going to be an atmosphere this team hasn't seen for ever, and you're probably going to lose even if Leonard plays, right? And so you got to look at it this way. They have Louisville on deck next week. Louisville lost last week. So if they can beat Louisville, that takes Louisville out of the equation as far as contending for the ACC championship game. Then they have a game against Wake Forest, who is terrible this year. And then they play North Carolina. And so if Duke loses against FSU, takes care of business against Wake Forest, Louisville, and then North Carolina, and then whomever else. I think they got Virginia, some other scrub team. If they take care of business against those teams, they still control their own destiny as far as making the ACC championship game, because they would have tiebreakers over those two teams. And so if he goes out there and plays against FSU, and let's say he goes out there for a quarter or a half and goes out there and gets wrecked, gets hurt even more, and then winds up missing the Louisville game, and potentially the North Carolina game. Not only does that loss against FSU count, that basically metamorphosizes into 2 more additional losses on the season, because he came back too early against a team that he probably not going to beat anyway. And so if they're smart, I think they'll probably do one of those, well, he tried to go on warm-ups, he just wasn't able to, so we wanted to take a smart approach and let him heal properly, hold him out this game, and then let him come back the next game. So it basically covers his bases as far as, hey, I know I said he had a good chance of playing, but he had a little setback, trying to come back to play. So it doesn't put, it doesn't make Elko to look like, he's a liar or whatever to the media. And it sets Duke up to potentially have some success against Louisville next week. And then ultimately gives them their best chance to beat North Carolina down the road. So if I had to bet, I would say he's not going to play. If he does, I think that is a huge risk that Mike Elko is taking. I would put that almost in the same category as Tyler Van Dyke and Mario Cristobal last year. When he ran him out there against FSU and he got ragdoll and basically couldn't finish the game. So that's my take on Riley Leonard. He's a good player and would give Duke their best chance to win, but even with him playing, I still don't think they would win the game. And so I would expect to see the backup that played last week is against NC State, and he's a mobile guy too. But again, he's not quite the passer that Leonard is. Duke has some good running backs. I know everybody's touting them as, kind of the best rushing team in the ACC and whatnot. But I mean, they did have some success against Clemson in game one. They ran for almost 200 yards, but about 100 yards of that was Riley Leonard himself. And one of those runs was a huge touchdown run that was just a highlight reel play. And the two backs that Duke has, I think they combined for like 109 yards. And then last week against NC State, again, NC State isn't the defense that they've been in the past couple of years. And, they had some success running the ball last week. I think one guy had 100 yards and the other guy had averaged like 4.1 yards per carry. Now, the thing with FSU is FSU has been extremely stout against the run this year, against a traditional run, I should say. A few more mobile quarterbacks have given them some issues, but I know a lot of people want to go back to the Boston College game, but I don't even count that game. I mean, it is clear that a lot of guys on that team were sick that week, and the defense hasn't played anywhere like that all season, aside from that one particular game. So I know a lot of people have some PTSD from that game or whatever, but I'm just here to tell you can take that game and just toss it out. It's not a great barometer to judge the defense on, because you had half the guys with the flu or whatever it is they had, and they haven't played like that since. And so I am definitely willing to chalk it up to that instance. And again, there were still stretches where they dominated that game, and there were some other fluky stuff in the game that happened. So FSU was trending. I said it, during the bye week. I said FSU is setting themselves up to peak right when you want them to. And they had some games with, Virginia Tech after the bye, with Syracuse after that, and then this Duke game and then after that, they have games against Wake Forest and Pitt before they welcome Miami to tally. These are all great games where both the offense and the defense can kind of fine tune some things and be ready to peak there towards the end of the season, whenever the ACC championship game comes about, and then potentially the college football playoff. So offensively, you're looking at a team that's beginning to run the ball with a bit more success than they had early in the year, which is similar to what we saw last year. It still hasn't found that level of consistency that we saw last year, where FSU had like 6 consecutive games with 200 or more yards rushing. But at the same time, it's a different offense with different weapons, specifically at receiver and tight end. So I think that dynamic probably has changed the offense, so to speak. It's a bit more explosive this year. They're still averaging over 7 yards per play, where they were close to 7 yards per play last year. But Johnny Wilson will probably return this week, and so I've said it before. I think Duke will probably try to force FSU to execute down the field on 7, 8, 9, 10 play drives. Because that's something that FSU hasn't shown that they have been able to do consistently this year. So it's been a lot of boom or bust. It's going to be imperative that Jordan Travis, make great pre-snap reads at the line of scrimmage, get them into the right play. And if Duke considers running a light box with 5 or 6 guys, I think FSU is going to be able to run on them. So, if they begin to run the ball and have some success, I think you're going to see Duke probably start bringing a guy down in the box, and then that's going to open up things vertically. Also, FSU can use the running backs as an extension of the run game. Clemson did that. They had some great success with Will Shipley and Phil Maffa out in the flats against those linebackers, and that's something that we saw FSU do against Clemson. You saw that catch that Trey Benson had that kind of got things going for the offense there in the second half. So that can be an extension of the running game if for whatever the running game going traditionally, or if Jordan Travis still isn't comfortable running the ball, which I don't see why that would be the case. In the video I put up earlier this week, I showed how and whenever Duke is rushing the passer, that they leave huge lanes, which a mobile quarterback can take advantage of. And so I would expect that we could see Jordan Travis take those free yards and just keep the offense more efficient, because what was happening earlier in the years, FSU was, they were going vertically on first down, incomplete pass, and then the 2nd and 10, then they would run the ball for 1 yard, and then before you know it, you're blinking it's 3rd and 9. And although FSU has some amazing playmakers, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, those are not downs where you're going to have, much success consistently. So this is going to be a game where FSU is going to have to take the free yardage when they're there, stay in front of the chains, make it 2nd and 6, make it 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. And, Mike Norvell has shown that he's not above going forward on 4th down whenever it's 4th and manageable. So if you got to use 4 downs, use 4 downs. I prefer you wouldn't have to do that against Syracuse and Virginia Tech, who also had mobile quarterbacks that weren't the greatest passers. So I would expect them to be aggressive, shut the running game down, and then force the Duke quarterback, if it's the backup quarterback, to have to make plays on 3rd and long. And, if he's able to do that consistently, then you just tip your hat. And but more likely than not, he's not going to be able to do that. And they're going to get off the field and give the FSU offense more opportunities to do what they do with the ball. And I think you're probably going to see FSU get on the board early. If they can get up, 10-0, 14-0, 17-0, 17-3, anything like that, similar to how they did against Virginia Tech and Syracuse, then I think you'll see FSU begin to run the ball a bit more and start leaning on that Duke defense. And, by the time the second half rolls around, because Duke, while they're well coached, they don't have the talent. I shouldn't say the talent. They don't have the talent or depth that a team like FSU has on the defensive line and at linebacker. And so, we sat with FSU this year where in the second half, particularly against, say, LSU, they've been able to, and even against Syracuse last week, we've seen them begin to establish that running game, get that run game going. And, when that defense is out there in the field, for all those plays, it begins to take its toll. And I think that's what we saw against Syracuse last week. So all in all, should be an opportunity for FSU to remain undefeated in the ACC play, get a win over a ranked opponent. Although if Riley Leonard doesn't play, I'm sure the media will probably use that as a talking point and try to discredit FSU because, for whatever reason, they just don't want to give FSU credit. Prime example is FSU blew the doors off of Syracuse last week, and all the media guys that always got something to say against FSU, like Joe Cladd and Kurt Franklin 2.0, RJ Young, this week, right? So we'll see if they want to give FSU the credit they deserve or not, whether Leonard plays or not. But all they got to do is take care of business, and they'll be in good shape. Just keep winning. That's all you got to do. You're going to make the college football playoff if you continue to win, stay undefeated, and then it's anybody's ball game. So my prediction for the game, I'm going to go with 37-14, I think. I'm going to go with 37-14. FSU is probably close for the first quarter or so, and I think once Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins kind of sees the approach that Mike Elko is taking, they'll make their adjustments, and then it'll be off to the races. So again, appreciate the love and support. Like the video, man. I would love to see this one get over 100 likes. So if you're watching right now and haven't hit like, man, just hit that little like button right there for me. Doesn't cost you a thing. Make sure you're subscribed and turn your notifications on for the whenever the videos come out. That way you'll have them at your disposal. But again, until next time, go Noles.